Welcome and thank you for joining me on this wonderful day. My name is Miss Daisy, and this is a Parent Advocate podcast where we discuss anything and everything regarding our children, but more specifically, anything regarding our children that might have some type of disability and what services we can get for them. And as a parent, what exactly can we do? Right? Like I said, this is my first podcast, and I do want to make a couple disclaimers. Number one, I am not an attorney. I am not a professional advocate. I'm simply a parent that I want to share out my experiences that I've had trying to navigate this crazy system, trying to get my children services and learning from everything. And also I want to hear from you. What have you gone through, and what have you learned? Maybe it's something I can use as well. Number two, all my experience has been coming from the state of California. So if you're hearing me from another state, I'm hoping they have the same services. I'm not too sure. And more specifically from the Los Angeles County. The county itself, it's very, very large, very, very huge. And so I want to make sure you're aware from what location I'll be sharing my experiences from. So a little background information regarding myself. Like I said, I'm a parent as well. I currently have 3 children, 3 and only 3 children. And out of my 3 children, 2 of my children, I've gone through the special education process. So my first child, I've gone through the special education process. He had at the time, he had a suspected disability of speech. And so that was all that he had. And so at this point, he no longer has an active IEP, but I did learn a lot when he was smaller, trying to access a lot of the services from my private insurance, from the school districts, and from the regional centers. Now, currently, I have a little one where I'm learning most and my bulk of the information. So he has something called apraxia of speech and has a sensory disorder, which these 2 things I've never heard of. So I'm slowly educating myself as to what exactly this is and how can, as a family and as parents, how can we support him here? And which leads me into why. Why do I want to do this? Well, I want to educate other parents. I know that going through these processes is very scary because I've seen it while I'm waiting in the lobbies, and I'm seeing children that, might have some type of disability, whatever it is. It can be speech, autism, whatever. And a lot of these parents, because I'm a social butterfly. So when I always talk about kids with these parents, they always share with me like, no, they're they don't know where to go, or they don't know who to ask, or they brought it up to their pediatricians, but they tell them they'll grow out of it, or it's fine, it's normal because they're boys, or it's fine, it's normal because they're girls. So I always feel that us as parents are the best voice for our children, and we are their best advocates because we know them better. The other reason why I wanted to start this podcast, it's because I want to help you navigate the regional centers. The early start programs are available for our children. And what's so awesome about these programs is that there is no fee to have our children assessed. I know this. I've had both my kids assessed. So I think that it's a service that's available, that's being underutilized. in my opinion. And so I want to, educate parents that that's a service that's available. And third, as to my why I want to do this, is I want to help you navigate the IEP process and how to advocate for your children, right? A lot of times, I've done this where in my first ever IEP with my first child, I went through this. I just sat there. I had no idea what they were talking about. I didn't understand many of these acronyms and these large words, and I was too embarrassed to ask questions. And so I just went along with it. And ever since then, I learned, no, they're there because of my child. And so if I'm not understanding what they're talking about, whatever these acronyms mean and what do these large words mean, then nothing's going to happen. So I want to dive more into that. So, but like I said, I wanted to do more of introduction so you can learn who I am. And I'm hoping that, so far you like what you hear and you dive more into advocacy for our kids. But I do want to leave you with a couple recommendations to start off with. First, I want to highly recommend you keep a journal of your child's milestones. Now you might think, well, I know exactly when my child began to talk, when my child began to crawl, when my child began to walk. But from the time they're 0 to 7 years old, they're going to ask us this question over and over again. I want to say more than twice a year, especially if we suspect our children have some type of disability. Because as we have them go through any assessment process, that question is asked over and over again. So it's always best to give the most accurate answer. I'm not a technology person, believe it or not. I don't own an iPod or an iPhone. No, I'm a pen and paper person. So I always carry my large bag, and I have my planner, and I have my journal where I have all of my children's information written down, because I want to make sure I provide whatever specialist, whatever provider I'm working on or my child's working with that day. And if they need to know when he started walking, let me pull it up. I want to give you the most accurate information as I possibly can. My second recommendation: speak with your pediatrician. Any concerns you might have. Know that even if you're under private insurance, if you're under Medicaid or Medi-Cal, you always have the option of changing your pediatrician. That is always an option. You don't have to stay with the same one they were assigned to because of, insurance or whatnot. If you feel as a parent the pediatrician is not listening to you, then go ahead and request that change. Find out how can you make that change. Call your insurance company and say, hey, can you send me a list of other pediatricians that there's, I have been blessed with not having that experience, but I have friends that have gone through this experience. I had a friend. It was obvious there was some type of physical delay with her child, and she would bring it up every time, for the yearly appointments with her child, like, hey, he's not, he walks, he takes 2 steps and he falls. Oh, he'll grow out of it. That was the response from the pediatrician. Oh, he'll grow out of it. Oh, this, oh, that. So when I advised her, you do have the option of changing pediatricians if you feel your current pediatrician is not listening to you. So, this time she did a little research. She went on good old Google and, read all the reviews, and she found a doctor that she liked. She made the change. So when she brought up her concern to the first appointment, with her new pediatrician, he immediately sent her over to the neurologist. They did all these scans, and yeah, he had some type of more of like a cognitive issue going on, and they're working on it. So, she was so glad she listened to me, and she brought her concern up to her doctor, her new doctor, and this doctor listened to her. My third recommendation. So, you're gonna go and speak to your doctor of whatever concerns you might have. Write down any questions you have prior to your appointment, right? Because what happens when we walk into a doctor's office? We know their time is limited, right? 5 minutes the most, if we're lucky. And so they have their own questions they need to ask us. So this is a time where we want to go ahead and have our most important questions answered. And if we haven't written down in a sheet of paper, first, the pediatrician will know, hey, this parent is very serious about their child's health or really wants to know what's happening. And two, you probably will get an answer, regarding whatever questions you may have. And I'm speaking this for myself. Initially, when I would go see pediatricians, I would always be either shy or I would feel, what is the word? Like a little inferior to them because, wow, they're medical doctors and we listen to medical doctors, right? But, once I started to implement these recommendations or these changes to the way I would walk into these appointments with my child, and everything changed, and I got the courage to not feel that way. And again, this is the way I feel. Like I said, I have some close friends that I've shared this with, and they've said, "Hey, I thought I was the only one," but no, So, again, writing down any questions you might have. Fourth recommendation: be honest with yourself. If you truly feel in the bottom of your heart that something is not right with your child, whatever it might be, go with that instinct 100%, right? Because as parents, we're the ones that best know our children. No one else. We're with them the most if we're working or if we're stay-at-home parents. We know them the most. And also any background information that's relevant. And I say this, for example, if you know that there's a history of autism, go ahead and share that. If there's a history of a speech delay in the family, immediate family, go ahead and share that. Now, if it was your second cousin twice removed, then, we don't need to get into that far of a family background. But, immediate family, relevant medical information, I think it should be shared. Could bring some light into what possibly could be happening with your child, if it's something very mild to something very severe. And fifth, again, this is if you suspect your child has some type of disability. If you feel your child might have a speech delay, might have, some type of physical or mental delay, I don't know. Always seek out regional center. Again, I'm reporting or I'm coming to you from Los Angeles County in California, and we have a system called the Regional Center, which is a program that is paid for. I'm not sure if it's from the state or from federal funds, but it's a free program to have our children assessed. And it's kind of like a second opinion, right? So if you speak to your pediatrician and you say, hey, I feel little Johnny has a speech delay, and they tell you, well, he'll grow out of it, then you can take your child to the regional center. Well, they'll actually do a thorough assessment and tell you, yes, your child does have some type of speech delay, or no, your child does not. And accessing regional center services, you do not need a referral from anywhere. As a parent, we can actually self refer ourselves, our kiddos, to them. And so, um, how can you find them? Just Google it. Go on Google and Google regional center near me. And whatever regional center you live close to, it'll pop up. Now, all of them within LA County again have the same services, but some are have more than others. Not services, meaning more parent advocacy, more parent support. Um, I don't know why that is, but it is. I found that. Um, but yeah, those are the 5 recommendations I'm gonna leave you with. On my next episode, I want to dive more into what does the regional center assessment look like and what services they can offer, from a parent perspective. And then what I'll do is, if you have any specific questions or comments, go ahead and comment below if there's anything more deep you want to go into. I also want to do another broadcast on more on apraxia. I think that it is something that it's not talked about that much within parents, and also going more into the whole debate into some SLPs do acknowledge an apraxia diagnosis, and some don't believe so much in it. So we'll dive more into that. But go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.